These are the KioKop Pro 4.0 compression recovery boots. In today's video, I'm going to talk about what comes with these boots when you purchase them. I'll talk about some of the specifications and features of them, and then I will show myself using them before providing my overall thoughts. Now, these boots are from a company that I hadn't really heard of before, but as I'm always looking for companies that are trying to compete with some of the more well-known brands, I always like to take a look at them and see how they stack up from a quality standpoint. So this company caught my eye because specifically, these boots have a really high pressure, a pressure that I've never seen before. Also, on their website, they show a few different varieties of the boots. So they've got some with the traditional pump. They have some of the new wireless type ones with the pumps in the foot. So I'm starting with these Pro 4.0 boots. If I like these, I'm going to go ahead and try to check out some of the other ones as well. But to start, let's take a look at what comes with these out of the box. I do want to start with the boot themselves. So I have the boot here. You've got the KioKop branding that's sort of stitched on here. It looks very similar to a Hyper Ice boot. Really, the fabric is almost identical to every other compression boot, at least a high quality compression boot. You have sort of this star pattern design on the fabric here. You see you've got the reinforced stitching. Now this boot's unique because it is a 6-chambered boot. So you've got one in the foot, one in the ankle, 2 in the calf, and then 2 in the thigh. So it is really one extra chamber from a lot of other boots that you might traditionally see on the market. You do have the Pro branding on the top here. You've got some hooks that you can hang the boot up. And then you have really this traditional hose, which is more common with the original Normatecs. So you've got that. You've got a zipper that runs the full length of the boot. It does stop at the toe. There's some stitching at the end that prevents it from coming fully undone there. It does have a sort of a triangle panel design on the foot. So rather than just being 2 panels, you have that flat bottom. This whole boot gives you a 360-degree fill around your leg as you do fill that air from the bottom all the way up. You do have the ability to zip inside the logo here and actually see all the hoses inside. Not all boots have that, but most of them have that just in case there's something wrong and something's leaking. You're able to see where that issue comes from. And then on the end here, this is the part that actually goes into the housing unit or into the splitter. So you can just press and release that there. So with that being said, I do want to show it does also come with the second boot, but in between the boots, you get sort of this splitter piece, which is again, traditional like the Normatec, but you've got this and then you just connect the boots there. And then these go together to connect into the pump unit. So it is a more traditional pump unit. You've got a couple different buttons here. You've got a plus and minus button. That's to adjust both the pressure and the time. You've got a power button, which is start and stop, an exhaust button, and a mode button. Now the mode button is going to do most of your controls once it's on. So you can cycle through the time settings, the pressure settings, and the different modes that you're going to go through. The pump itself, you've got the KioKop branding here. You've got a large, shiny, I don't know if it's glass, acrylic probably screen here. And then you have the one pump setting in the front here where that hose actually plugs into. Just going to show that here. So this just plugs in real easily there. In order to pull it out, you just squeeze the button here and pull it out. Power cable on the back. This is what it looks like. It plugs into the traditional wall. You also have a USB-C outlet. It does come with a USB-C charging cord. So this is both a traditional power device and a battery power device. The battery power from it is going to come from an external battery pack. If you have that, you could go ahead and attach it. They do have a special that with some of your purchases, you do get that battery pack as well. And then you have 2 little convenient handles on the side of it. Now this does all come in a really nice carrying case. So this is potentially one of the nicest cases that I've seen come with compression boots. That's one of my biggest knocks on compression boots is that for how much you're paying, a lot of these companies don't put much effort into the case. Some of them include no case at all. Some of them it's just a drawstring pouch. This is a really nice sort of fake leather polyurethane type material. You've got the KioKop branding on the front there. You have a really nice sturdy handle that's reinforced with some fabric stitching on the top here. You've got some eyelets on the sides that you can put a shoulder strap on. And then it has the little pocket in the back here that you can slip it over if you're going to carry this on the side of a suitcase or anything like that. It just slips right over there, making it really easy to use as a carry-on. Now inside the case, it's equally as nice. So you've got another little pouch or flap here with the KioKop branding on it. This unzips to actually hold the boots in place. And this is all built into the case. So it's not a separate compartment. Really nice and convenient there. Then you've got a portion here where the pump goes. And then right here, you have the shoulder strap that I mentioned earlier. Now, in addition to this, you do also get a universal power adapter. So you can use this for a few different countries. It's got the European one in the back here. You can pop this open and you'll get the US outlet there. You can pop this open. You got another setting here. I'm not sure what all these countries are for, but you do have some variability here that you can go ahead and switch it up depending on what country you're in. You're going to be able to go ahead and power the device with that. So they do just push back in, lock into place. So convenient that they give that to you depending on what country you're on or if you're going to be traveling a lot with it. So that is just a quick overview of everything that comes with them. Now I want to talk about some of the specifications and features of these. I want to do that as I'm putting them on, as I'm running through my first routine, and I'm going to talk through what I'm feeling while I'm doing that and share some more information on the specifications and features of these KioKop Pro 4.0 boots. So as is the case with any pair of compression boots, you want to make sure you're wearing something comfortable. You want to make sure there's no buttons, zippers, anything that's going to squeeze into your leg to either hurt your leg or damage your boot. I do recommend putting your foot all the way down to the base of it. You can put it on two different ways. You can slide it on like a pair of pants, or you can put it on like I'm going to put this leg on, is just put your foot in and then zip it all the way up. It should fit snug up into your groin, and your foot should just barely be sticking out of the end, or your toes sticking out of the end there. When you're ready, you can go ahead and make sure your hose is all connected. Your hoses should not be crossing underneath. You shouldn't be sitting on them at all. I like to have the pump right in the middle here. Now, a couple things about these boots. So I mentioned that you've got the 6 different chambers. They are overlapping chambers, but you do not have the ability to activate or deactivate individual chambers with this. So we've got 3 different modes that we can choose from. Mode 1 is going to be more of a traditional sequential mode where it's going to fill 1 chamber at a time until the whole boot is filled and then release the air. Mode 2 is going to be 2 chambers at a time. So it's going to inflate, deflate, 2 chambers, then go to the next 2, inflate, deflate, then go to the last 2, inflate, deflate. And then the third mode is going to be all the chambers at once and then just a long hold. So 3 different routines there. I'm going to go ahead and choose the first one with the pressure settings on this. This is one of the highest pressure boots that I've seen on the market. I think it might be the highest on the market. It goes up to 270 millimeters of mercury. That is a very, very high pressure. A lot of the other devices on the market either cap out around 200 or 210. So if you're somebody that's looking for a really, really aggressive squeeze, this will be the boot for you. Now, I say that with a little bit of caution. Just be careful. You shouldn't be super, super painful. For me, you'll see I'm going to choose the level 4, which is halfway. There's 8 different levels you can choose from. For me, that's really comfortable and I get the squeeze that I really want. As it gets up towards your quads, it's going to be tighter because you have more muscle mass in there filling the boot. So for me personally, that's what I'm going to select. And I will show this all on the screen here as I go through that. But I just wanted to talk through some of those features. From a time setting, you could go all the way up to 1 hour and 55 minutes with an individual session, which is certainly a long enough time. Obviously, you can reset it and start it again if you'd like to. Again, this is battery powered and able to be plugged into the wall simultaneously. So if you want to use it in the wall, you can. If you want to use it while it's charging, you can. So really, really nice feature from that there. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, show some of the settings on the screen, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the routine. So go ahead and power it on. You see the flashing portion that's indicated by what section you're actually adjusting at the time. So you can use the plus and minus here to adjust that. When you're ready to rotate, so I'm just going to do a 10-minute routine here quick. Hit the menu button and it'll cycle down to the hours. Hit the menu again. It's going to allow you to choose the level. Again, just the plus and minus here. Again, this is going to go all the way up to 270 millimeters of mercury. So I'm going to go on level 4. You can go down to the mode again. You see it's flashing on M3. You can drop down to M2. It's going to show you how each of them are going to go as you utilize each routine or mode. So I'm going to go with M1 there. So that's that. And then when you're ready to get started, just go ahead and press that power button. Now you see it's got the level 100% lactate. I'm not exactly sure how that's measured, but you will see that that decreases as the routine goes along. So as you get closer to that time expiring, this percentage will get closer to 0. Now, these boots that I'm wearing right here are the standard size. They do come in 2 different sizes. So they have the standard, which is for people 5 foot 2 inches all the way up to 6 feet 3 inches. And then they have a tall, which is for people who are taller than 6 feet 4 inches. Now this doesn't have a Bluetooth app or anything, so this system here is the only way to actually control the device. You can't use a Bluetooth app. There's no wireless technology here with it. Again, the maximum session time is 1 hour and 55 minutes. And you'll see it's filling here, but I've got that triangle design that I mentioned earlier, so it's really comfortable around the foot. You've got a flat fill on the bottom and then a squeezing fill on both sides, and then it's going to continue to fill up all the way up the boot. Now, this is not my first time using these. I've used these pretty extensively. In terms of speed of these, the first fill here is going to take about 4 minutes and 34 seconds. That first fill is always the longest because it's going to fill all of these chambers from empty. But then that second cycle is going to be about a minute faster. It's going to be about 3 minutes and 30 seconds on that second cycle. So you see here, I mean, the boot is very firm, filling up here. You've got this indicating 95% lactate now. You see the indicators here showing which zone it's filling. So we're already on the 4th zone. And it's just a really comfortable fill. The boots are comfortable, again, right on par with some of those other name brands. So the quality is good, the stitching is good. So as it fills up here, you just sort of sit back and relax and let it go through its routine, let it flush all those fluids back to your core. So when you are done, you can go ahead and press the power button, turn the device off. You just go ahead and unzip, and you are good to go. So the price of these boots is right on par with some of these other name brands. It's $999. The one benefit of these is that it does come with a 2-year warranty, which is about a year longer than most other brands. So pretty competitive in that market. Overall, for a company that I hadn't really heard of before, I think it is a pretty high quality boot. I think the price point, being that it is a corded device, I think the price point might just be a little bit high, being a corded device that plugs into the wall. Well, it does have that battery functionality. The pump is pretty big compared to some of their other competing devices and some of their own devices as well that have the pump and the battery built onto the boot. I think you've seen a lot of the other competitors in that space come at a lower price point. So given that this one still has the traditional pump, the hose, and plugs into the wall, I think it's a little bit high to be competing with that. But I think it also comes with a little bit of a caveat because there are some benefits to that, obviously, that you have unlimited power and you're able to have a more powerful pump because it does get its power from a wall outlet. So I think that's a little bit of a win there, but I just think the price point in order to be competitive needs to come down. But the quality is certainly there. What you're getting from the routine certainly isn't as customizable as some other devices on the market. Obviously, you don't have the Bluetooth compatibility, so you can't get really, really refined with your routines. But I think for the general consumer, that sequential mode, that M1, is going to be really what most people are going to be using. So for me, it actually seems to do a pretty great job for what most people are going to want. Just know that that pressure can get really, really high if you want to, and it is a little bit bulkier than some other things. So in terms of some things that I do really like about it, I love the case. The case is a really big piece of these devices for me. I think they just assume a lot of people are throwing them in a backpack, but if you're spending $1,000 or more on something like this, the little bit of effort that goes into creating a high quality case, which this one has, really goes a long way in my book. So I applaud them for putting the effort into that. I think it's really well designed. I love that it has the little strap that you can slip it over your carry-on or your luggage if you're taking it to the airport, if you are traveling with it. I love how powerful it is. I know that's one of the biggest complaints that I've heard about some of the other more well-known devices, such as the Hyperice or the Therabody devices, is that, 200 and 210 just doesn't seem like enough. Now, that's for you to do your own research on. I personally tend to be in the camp that more pressure isn't always better, but I know there's a lot of people that want this to feel like a really aggressive squeeze, a really aggressive massage, and they want those devices that get really, really high pressure. So this is certainly one of those devices that does that, going all the way up to 270 millimeters of mercury. That is something that was really surprising to me and something that I'd never seen before. So this is probably one of the only devices on the market that are going to go that high. So that's what you're looking for. That's definitely a win, and just the power in general is something that impressed me. Next would be the fact that it has 6 zones. I think the more zones you get into, the more of a just smooth fill you get up the leg. It certainly has those overlapping chambers as well, which makes that really smooth. I kind of compare it to squeezing a tube of toothpaste. But the fact that you have that extra chamber, I've seen some medical grade devices that go all the way up to 8 chambers, but more of your traditional athlete recovery devices are only 4 or 5 chambers. So that 6th chamber is definitely noticeable. This one specifically mostly focuses around the ankle. So if you have a lot of ankle injuries, if you've got Achilles injuries, If you got a lot of swelling in the ankle area, that little extra chamber in there is definitely an added benefit and something you notice in the smoothness of how it fills. And then lastly, the thing that I like is just the quality of it. You know, when it's not a brand that you've really heard of before, you're not always sure if the quality is going to be there. This, to me, the fabric is very, very similar to every other compression boot that I've taken a look at. The stitching is high quality. The zipper doesn't come undone at the end. It is stitched in. So everything from those little nuances seems to have been thought of, similar to the case. The things that I don't like, though, is I don't really love how big the pump is. I don't love the hoses. I think the technology has evolved beyond that at this point. I think it is nice from the sense that you can get really powerful because you have that big pump. But I think the portability has become the focus for most consumers these days. So that was just a little bit of a downside for me with this device. Not a huge loss, because again, most people are going to be using this in their home or in a setting where they're going to have access to a power outlet. Certainly it helps having a really nice case to carry everything easily in. But just looking at how it compares to where the technology of some other devices have gone, it's a little bit of a step backwards for me in that regard. But again, there's little nuances with each device and what you're going to want and why you would want that specifically. And for some people, having that power, if you're in a medical setting and you know you're not traveling around with it, certainly going to be an acceptable solution there, having that powered pump and that big pump available to you. Well, I said I did really like the pressure of it. Again, I'm sort of indifferent on it. So that's sort of a like and dislike for me. My only reason for saying it's a slight dislike is that I think some people, if they're uneducated and uninformed, may end up hurting themselves going too high of a pressure. So I would just say, well, it is awesome that it goes that high in pressure. Just be cautious. If it starts to get painful for you, go ahead, back the pressure off, use a lower level, use a lower setting. But just sort of why it falls in both a win and a loss, or a like and a dislike for me there. And just the last thing, it's a really small thing, but I do wish that the power cord was long. The power cord is only about 5 feet long. So if you are trying to sit on a couch like I am and you don't have a power outlet within 5 feet of your couch, or you're an available power outlet, I certainly have an outlet, but all my outlets are taken. So I had to get an extension cord to run it to a different power outlet. If you're not going to be using the battery powered feature on it, just know that the cord is a little bit shorter, and that's something that I wish they could improve. But overall, like I said, I think this is a pretty high quality device. If this is something that you're interested in, they do have that power adapter so you can use it in any country. But go ahead, go to their website. I'll put it in the description. If you want to purchase it, you just know it's going to be a good quality device. Like I said, I do like this enough. I'm going to try to see if I can get my hands on some of their other devices to take a look at. But overall, that is a quick overview of the KioKop Pro 4.0 compression massage boots. If you guys have questions about these, go ahead, drop it in the comments down below. I will do my best to answer those. Otherwise, that's a review. Enjoy your recovery.